you're immediately like, okay, so that's the person that's going to kill me today. Like, this is how I die, right?
He's not military, he's not law enforcement, and not even a world champion. Kent is just an everyday citizen who transformed into an elite instructor by mastering how to teach, not just what to teach.
There is such a thing as too much training and not enough personal practice and growth. So if you're at a gun class every weekend this year and you have no personal time to acclimate to anything you were just shown, thank you very much for your money. You're not going to grow.
In this episode, Kent unpacks how he tailors training to fit each student, busts myths that hold gun owners back, and reveals how communication and mindset can make or break your progress. I used to think there was something, if they could just give me the thing I'm lacking, then I would be fixed. Then I could do the XYZ thing that I wanted to do. And what I've learned is there is no thing another human can give you to make you more who you are or to give you more wholeness. I don't think that the best people around me have ever given me anything I didn't already possess. What they did was they revealed it to me in that moment. Like a good coach will give you good advice and good cues, and that's part of it. But a great coach will ask you the right question at the right moment that'll reveal something inside of you that you didn't see before. And that's something then that you have that you can carry with you even after that class is over. Stay tuned if you want to stop guessing and start growing. If you're new or watching this as a replay, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Please subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and anywhere else that you can see me or hear my voice. If you don't want to miss another episode of Defenders Live, you can join our free community at defenders-live.com and become a free subscriber. Lastly, if you're looking for exceptional firearms or self-defense training, go to defenders-usa.com and look at their calendar to see what training is coming to you this year. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Defenders Live. I'm your host, Lora Thorson. Kent Hauer is the chief instructor at Green Mountain Defense and a dedicated lifelong student of firearms and defensive concepts. Like many, he initially approached shooting sports with the belief that his heritage naturally endowed him with above average shooting skills. After all, his father had taught him, and that seemed like enough. However, over the course of a decade, he came to realize just how flawed that assumption was. Determined to refine his abilities, Kent sought training from some of the most respected instructors and mentors in the industry. Through years of rigorous education and hands-on experience, he has built an extensive resume of certifications and qualifications. For full transparency, Kent does not come from a military or law enforcement background, nor is he a world champion shooter, though he does compete. Instead, he is an everyday citizen who has honed his expertise by leveraging his skills in sales, communication, adult education, and presentation. This unique blend of experiences allows him to effectively teach firearms concepts to the average citizen, making defensive training accessible and practical for all. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Let's welcome Kent Hauer onto the show. Hey, Kent.
Hi.
Hi. Funny to see you here.
I'm like humbled. What an awesome intro. That was something.
Oh, well, that's who you are, right?
You should like maybe have a company where you help people do that. Because that was way better than my version. That was good. Maybe it was just your voice reading it in like the perfect like cicadic rhythm that made it sound so awesome. But
well, it hasn't always been a perfect rhythm. That's for sure. If you go back and watch some of the earlier episodes, yeah, you go back and look at stuff you did a year ago, and sometimes it's like, man, there's a lot of growth there. That's what I'm going to choose to see, a lot of growth, right?
It's funny you mentioned that. I have chosen not to take anything down I've ever put on the internet.
Me too. You
can go see like shooting videos of me shooting in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Not the world's promo video for the product I'm putting out today. But like, that's who I was then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to dive into that a little bit more because, I've been on my own journey as well. And when I've told multiple people this, but when I met Adam Winch in 2022, I think it was, or what is it, 2023? I can't remember. I was already a firearms instructor. I started my certifications in 2020. And so when I met him, I thought I kind of knew a few things. And then I learned that I did not. And so did you have a similar experience?
I did. Mine, I mean, it's been a minute, but
yeah,
I was unfortunately that like Pennsylvania redneck kid, grew up shooting, grew up hunting, all this. If anybody who's ever run a line at a gun class from the instructor side knows that the person who says like, grew up doing this, I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. You're immediately like, okay, so that's the person that's going to kill me today. Like, this is how I die, right?
Yeah.
So I took that mentality with me to New England, up to Vermont, where I went to school and wasted my first $100,000 on a degree worth nothing. Hospitality management, baby. You want to know how to pour a beer? We can teach you. Like, no idea why I made that life choice, but
I can relate to that too. I don't use my degree either.
I went up there and got around some shooters, and a couple fellas. Hey, can you shoot? Yeah. Oh no, you can't. As it turns out, and that doesn't sit well with young, stupid male ego. So I decided to go get better at my own expense. That took a long
time. But sometimes male egos that get defensive about their inabilities don't take the initiative that you took. So what is different about you?
I think I have just enough like work ethic to where I can look and go, no, wait a minute. Why can that person do that thing that you can't do? And if it's not like God-given talent or ability, like you're never going to catch me dunking a basketball or pole vaulting or something. Like, you can look and go, I don't think this is your path, but no reason you can't shoot a gun better. And then I sort of got dragged into it by some friends until you're tired of being the worst guy doing it. And eventually I went to, I put some effort in and I went to the SIG Academy up in Epping, New Hampshire. I went for a class there, and they kind of do this thing at the SIG Academy where they like sort of sidle over to you and they go, hey man, you need Jesus. Like you could use some help. Right. And my first experience there, I was the like, hey bud, come here a minute guy. And nobody likes to be that guy either. And you just continue to immerse yourself in the space until you realize like there's such a big deficiency here. The only thing I can do is dive in.
That takes a lot of humbleness, and it takes a lot of personal responsibility to do that, because I met a lot of people who tend to blame the gun, they blame others or whatever thing they can blame. Their elbow hurts today or So that says a lot about you that you took the initiative to do that. So
it was probably talking about it now, right? Like in hindsight, it seems like a hard, quick, momentary decision. It probably took a couple months for me to convert through it.
Yeah, it does. It's a process.
As we think back, but on the whole blip of the timeline, it wasn't very long before I was like, oh, so I should learn and read and study and think through this. And at the time, I was a young ski instructor. I was in the ski industry in Vermont.
Oh, okay. So
I was around very well-to-do people who were paying to learn to do things from, a young 21-year-old kid. And I'm kind of going, oh, wait a minute. Like, if you can get that good at that through a process, why can't you get good at anything, and through what process?
So you were able to draw on your experience as a ski instructor then to help. But when you first started, though, that wasn't on your radar, was it? You were just trying to be a better shooter. What kept you kind of hooked on it? What was it about it?
The fact that you're never good at it. We're still not good at it. None of us are good at it. Like there is no such thing until you can draw the gun and hit anything from anywhere in zero time. There's no such thing as good enough.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that might bother some people, but to me, it's really encouraging.
That's what makes some people quit.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just funny to me is that literally everything that usually holds people back or makes them stop early are the very things that made you continue forward.
You sort of have to be a little broken in the head to enjoy this. Like,
no, you don't.
Yes, you do. 100% you do. We're not normal.
Tell me more about that.
How many of your friends do you know that obsess over a thing? Pick a thing, right?
Okay.
Whatever their thing is. How many of them make a career out of it and dedicate their life to being perfect at it?
But is it the pursuit of perfection, though, that really drives them?
I'm just saying, like, so when you look at the average person, they have their hobby or their thing they enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. You'll have a mom who's really into their kids' education, or you'll have a dad who loves hiking, or you'll have some people will, their whole life will revolve around their children. And, if Johnny gets into softball, well, damn it, now I know everything there is to know about softball or whatever. Yeah. Does that guy then start a kids softball coaching company and dedicate his whole life to softball? Yeah. That's the broken ahead part. Like, that's not the normal way people approach their hobbies.
Yeah, I think that's because, at least for me, I found a greater purpose in what I was doing. So it no longer became about shooting guns for me. It sounds like that's similar to what your path has been as well.
With maturity that came, like I started realizing that I was doing more for people than showing them how to press a trigger. Mm-hmm. And the further you mature in that, and the more, the better, not that this is only a man-centric industry by any point, but at least for me, the better man you become as a dad, as a husband, as a business person, like you just start being like, I'm not sure this is all about guns. And at that point, you hit another conversion. I think we are supposed to hit a conversion point in our lives every 3 to 5 years. And that one came for me probably 5 years ago or so, to where I was really, we're not just teaching people, we're empowering folks. We're really helping them through other aspects of their life.
Totally agree. And I think the reason that a lot of people come to gun class to begin with, not always, but a lot of the women, especially that I've encountered, have gone through something before they've ever arrived at a gun class. And there's a lot going on with people. And what I've also noticed is gun classes tend to reveal a lot about people. And that's why, to me, it's like becomes such a deeper process than just the act of shooting a gun. So tell me about one of the most interesting components to your background for me is that that you already had this skill set as a ski instructor and at a young age in your 20s. But then you also speak to communication, to sales.
Yep.
Tell me about those experiences and how those intertwine into your instruction as well.
So sort of like dual life, dual career kind of thing. I will not say the name of the large Fortune 500 company that I got all my sales hack from, but like it was a thing where I originally intended to go into business, and my mom was always a professional educator. My mom taught for 37 years in a high school system. My dad was always that like business driver guy. So I was kind of like pieces. And then my other grandfather was a farmer. So there's like the farm boy work ethic. There's the educator piece. And then there's but we have to effectively communicate or it doesn't make sense. And for a long time, I had like 2 of those 3 things working, but couldn't get the third figured out kind of thing. And then when you figured out the third, the one lacked. And then, you're always kind of sort of circling around common sense, but you didn't quite zero in yet.
Yeah.
And for me, it was this thing where I was destined to do something with it. And I didn't figure out what it was. And shooting and training and teaching and all that was always supposed to be like a secondary, hey, when you get a minute, we'll get after this. But, you should probably be an adult and focus on the real stuff, kid. And frankly, that wasn't real. And this is real for me. This is, family bread and butter. This is, my wife doesn't have to go to corporate America anymore. This is like, this is as real as a business could be for somebody. You'd love to be a multi-billionaire or something, but I don't know.
So is there a part of you that's surprised?
No, I'm not. Surprised isn't really it. I'm super grateful all the time.
Yeah.
I'm really like, I'll look around and go, I cannot believe this many people showed up here to talk to me at all.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Like, they call that imposter syndrome. I don't like the way they say that.
Yeah.
It's just more like a personal honesty gut check moment where you look around and you go, damn, son, gratitude. Kind of cool, right? Like I take a moment for that.
Yeah.
I also had a very early maturing moment in life, right? Like unfortunately through tragedy comes like a lot of positivity. My wife and I lost our first child. Like, and at that moment you just kind of go like, well, wait a minute. What exactly are we doing? Like, what really are we doing?
Yeah.
What things really matter to us and how are we going to approach life moving forward? And then we just kept dealing with tragedies. We kept losing people, way too early, parents and everything. Like I'm not 40 yet. I shouldn't be able to stack up all those. And it just felt more and more like, I'd look at her and I'd be like, so what the fuck are we doing again? Why are we both going to jobs we hate? Like where are we at here? And, at a certain point, you just have a fuck it moment. You go, fuck it. Let's see how this goes.
Man, I've totally been there.
Right. We all have. Like, if you're here, like at some point you made a conversion, hopefully not all through tragedy, but through some like life input, you went, I don't know. And
do you feel that like that sort of woke you up out of the haze of just going through the motions of life a little bit?
Yeah. And then worse yet, when life tries to pull you back into going through the motions, you just start to fucking twitch a little bit. You're like, no, we will not do this. Like,
start to resist.
Yeah. You sort of push back against it a little bit. And we're not 100% where we want to be with all the things we want to be with ever in life. I don't know anybody who's like
Arrive.
I've got it all figured out. It's amazing. At least nobody's being honest with you, right? Like,
no.
So through that, we just kind of were like, how about we just focus on our strengths and enjoy ourselves and do what we do best. So like we make the joke. We both went to hospitality school, right? Her and I both did. And we make the joke like, oh, we don't use that. We never do anything with it. Come to a class one time and watch the way we take care of people. There's absolutely some hospitality in that. Like there's little pieces of your life that'll show back up for you that you were meant to learn. And if you just will accept that and grow with it, you'll probably be all right. If you just get dogmatic on this narrow view of how it's supposed to be and what life is supposed to be like, and you ignore any sensory input from the outside, it might suck for 20 years.
There's a lot of stuff coming up for me when you're talking. First of all, before we move on to the next thing, and I got to keep taking notes for myself because I don't like to interrupt and I want to hear what you have to say. But when you talked about the notion of that we've never arrived, I would say my experience is that it is a dangerous notion to assume or have an expectation that there is a point in life in which I arrive and I'm good to go. And so for me personally, there was a goal that I set for myself, and I hit that goal without even realizing I had actually surpassed it. And on the other side of hitting that goal, I got really angry because I had put an expectation on how it would feel when I got there. And I was really pissed off because I'm like, this is bull. I hit this goal. I got to where I wanted to be. And I thought there would be like some kind of this breakthrough moment where I would feel like I have arrived somewhere. And I feel the same way that I did before I reached that goal. And then it occurred to me that I had set my expectations incorrectly for arriving somewhere. And instead, I should have been looking at that as a goalpost or as a mile marker on a journey. That, yes, of course, I can stop and celebrate, but that's not an end marker. And it's dangerous, I think, for people to assume that. And I've been guilty of that myself. So I don't know if you've had a similar experience or not, but
people do it just even in trying to attain shooting skills.
Right.
Like they'll put a metric on a thing and that'll be their thing. Dude, what, like there is life after a 1 second draw, or hey, there's life after like whatever you think is this like hugely, oh my God, I have to conquer Everest thing. There'll be another thing and another thing. And that's the whole point. Well, I don't know if it is. I think the whole point is taking my kid fishing. Like I'm not really. But that might be the goal, though, to spend time with your kid and have quality, moments with your kids. It's different for everybody. Yeah, but when I'm like two different people. At least this is how this works for me. Okay. When it comes to business, when it comes to work, when it comes to doing our jobs, when it comes to like being there for the people that matter to us and all that. You have responsibilities and you have things you should be doing, and this is how you act, this is how you handle it. I very much like to then go like, shut up, Kent, just be here. Just like, there doesn't have to be a goal, there doesn't have to be an agenda. We are not working right now. They deserve your time, whoever they are. And they're not just son and wife, but mom and friends and family and who's ever around you that you care so much about. Employees now, like Jesus Christ, we have employees in this business. Like, the only time I've ever been somebody's boss is under somebody else's construct, not my own, right? So, here you are, and you're like kicking back at the range, like having burgers after a successful event with your team and your people, and you have to be able to convert. You can't stay on the whole time. You can't always be working. Yeah. If you are, you'll miss the whole point. To me, that's the whole point, is the level of effort and energy that we put into this is to give us the opportunity to fade back and relax for a minute. That's funny that you say that, because my perspective is different. I guess I don't look at it as being two different people. Cool. But I understand what you're saying, and I have felt that way before, where there was a particular mode that I was in or whatever that I kind of had to calm down or shut down or whatever for the other parts of my life. But I think now I've, maybe without realizing it, somehow kind of integrated that more lower key part of myself into the business, and it's still working. So that's cool. Yeah. Definitely. My version of that is getting my wife more and more involved and letting her be that yin and yang to me. Like, I'm me. I'll never stop being me. Yeah. If you get me pushing and talking, shooting and coaching and work, like, say a topic and I'll fill your podcast right now. Like, I will not shut up. I'll be after it. Right. Yeah. But like, that's not always who everybody needs at all times. Yeah, totally. So I think as dad and as like a family leader and all this, like I think at some point we need to sort of man up to the realization that like, hey man, you need to be okay with just sitting in this moment and not dominating it, for one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for two, like, this is your reward. Mm. There is no, like, nobody else is bringing you a reward. They can bring you bags of money. You can get whatever notoriety you want. But this moment right now, the universe gave you this. Not nobody is going to give, 50 years from now, nobody's going to give you shit about most of our daily interactions. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true statement.
So we should probably just kind of learn to enjoy those a little bit. And when you put less, it's funny, when you put less of a attainment marker milestone on stuff for yourself, the better you do. Mm-hmm. And then we turn around and we do it to our students. So you go, wait a minute, why'd you make that one thing like fucking Everest for that person?
Right.
You did that. Point. You put that on them. Why? Like, they didn't come in here with that.
Right.
What'd you do that to them for? Mm-hmm. And then you wonder why they're not learning.
And they feel all kinds of pressure and
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So instead of that, then, we were just talking about your background. What do you do instead? And what are the things that you've learned in your background? I just keep going back to like the sales and communication part of it. So can you pick out some specific elements that you learned there that you apply now that are, something maybe I've never thought of before?
Sure. Are you familiar with buying cycles?
Yeah.
So you become aware of a product. Mm-hmm. Maybe something that you've decided you need that you never knew you needed, right? Mm-hmm. Or it's a thing that, like, everybody needs a car every couple, 7, 8, 10 years, or in some people's vernacular, every 2 or 3 or whatever they do, right?
Yeah.
But you become aware of this product and you start a buying cycle. Mm-hmm. And for most of the products in our life, we're never actually out of a buying cycle. You never really stop thinking about the iPhone or the computer or the car or the kick-ass Ninja blender my wife bought that I didn't know we bought. And I was like, oh, that thing's cool as fuck. Like it makes a really good smoothie. I was all about it. I was sort of sick last week. And she's like, how about a protein smoothie with drugs in it? I'm like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Let's do that. I don't feel great. But like, at some point she became aware she wanted that thing. Uh-huh. But she wasn't ready to make the commitment to it yet. Mm-hmm. So any marketing, any advertising, any preaching, any talking about that product was misaligned in her buying cycle. If she saw the ad for the Kick-Ass Ninja 5000 blender, she looked at it and went, well, cool, but like, I ain't buying a blender today. Mm-hmm. And then moved on with life. And then blender, then blender, then blender. Every person who has ever come to you or me or any of our constituents on a range thought about showing up about 50 times before the fuck they showed up. Why today? We became aligned at some point. How do we become aligned? To your point, maybe there's a precipitating event. God forbid, somebody put his hands on her or something like that. Like maybe there's all of a sudden, in Sophie's life, there's a precipitating event. Like, I have oranges, I have strawberries, I have milk, I have yogurt, I have drug protein powder. I don't have a thing to mix them. So maybe for whatever reason, we should stop to take it just a tick of a thought and go, this dude, my guy last night, right? I sat with a gentleman who came to me last night for private instruction. He's a new intake. He's new in our business. He's never had any contact with any of us before. He came to me, and rather than just diving into the fucking spiel that we all want to give all the time, hey man, what brought you in the door? Like, what exactly has you here? And you'll always get a bullshit answer. The first touch, you'll always get, well, I just thought maybe. Look, you thought maybe, bro, you make $250,000 a year. You're 49 years old. And tonight is the night you decided to seek out like an Amish Kevin James looking gun instructor and like try to come like tonight. You pick tonight. Like, why today? What are we doing here today? What made you show up today? Well, and then you learn the real reason, right? Do you think that might be really helpful in crafting this guy's future gun instruction and what his POI is going to look like and how his privates are going to be and what classes we advise him into outside of the private lesson program and what guest instructors that we bring in for hosting? You should also look at this. How does that impact his gear choices? How does it impact, what's his training budget look like? Mm-hmm. If we spend no time thinking about any of that stuff, we cycle a person, we both meet with their alignment, and then we become misaligned at the other end of that buying cycle. Mm-hmm. And now we become the blender that's just chilling in the cabinet that nobody gives a fuck about. Mm-hmm. And they don't come back again, and they don't look at any more info. They don't think about any of it. Mm-hmm. And it took a while for me to realize, like, this is no different. This literally is that figuring out what people need and what they want is figuring out what people need and what they want, regardless of what industry you're in, whether it be self-defense, automobiles, blenders, iPhones. Like they made that choice today. And then they made, like, I don't know about you in your neck of the woods, but there's 58 bajillion gun instructors in Pennsylvania. Like, we're full of them. You swing a dead cat, you'd hit a dude with an NRA thing. Like, so my man showed up here, not just anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm his blender. Why am I his blender? Why did you choose me? I hope there's a reason for that. I hope you didn't just go rock, paper, scissors, this dude. And let's be honest, sometimes that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. But now we have the opportunity to help them, make them stick, make them develop, and make them grow. And that's what we do here is we start people on their journey. We keep them for a long time. We help them develop. We help them grow. We expose them to our friends in the industry. We're not, they'll only train with us, only learn from us, only come to our stuff. Mm-hmm. I break my back freaking hosting other people and co-instructing with them and AIing for them, or they AI for me, or whatever. Like we're constantly collaborating. The next thing you know, you go, damn, we got a pretty thick Rolodex of customers who love us, and we don't have to push very hard for new business goals or attainments. And now we can just actually do the work and actually provide the product we said we were going to in the first place. Yeah. Which is frankly supposed to be the hard part.
Yeah, I think you hit on something that a lot of instructors miss, which is really the heart of the business, the heart behind why we are instructors to begin with. And I've been in classes where I've just felt like kind of like a cog in a wheel sort of feeling, where I'm just another person in the building going through this process that's not at all personalized to me. I just have to conform to what is going on in the environment. I don't feel very seen. I don't feel very heard. I just have to make sure I'm at least not the last person, the worst person in the class kind of a feeling, and keep my head down and don't ask too many questions. I've felt like that in many classes before. And what you're referring to is a completely different experience. And it sounds like what you care about first is the person that's in front of you, why they're there, how you can personally best help them, which I mean, it's like so crazy. We're even saying this out loud, and this is actually like a problem. But I wonder if the training industry in some ways is turned in, talk about a lot of rubber stamping going on in the certification process. I feel like there's a lot of that going on in the students process too. And
did you say the word industry?
Yeah.
We are not an industry.
What would you say we are?
Cottage industry at best. This is not entirely my paradigm. I've talked about this with several of my peers, but I hate to say this, industries have standards. Like the freaking automotive fastener industry has more standards than gun instructors. You kidding me right now? We're by no means an industry. The firearms training universe is the same 7,000 students passing the same $500,000 around in a big circle.
Yeah.
And I get to hold my piece and you get to hold your piece. We're all just holding on to our piece of Legos in a big circle. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
If we want to be an industry, we need standards. We need growth. We need to be able to hold each other accountable. You'll find pockets of that in different cliques or in different niches or whatever. But in all reality, like Google firearms instructors in Pennsylvania, firearms instructors in Utah, firearms instructors in Delaware. Google will have to kick into its third server bank to give you all the result. Like you can just click and click and click. They're everywhere, right? How many of them are putting in the level of effort that folks like us are?
Totally agree. Now, here's the counter argument to that, which I know you've heard, which is, okay, if we put industry standards into the firearms community, then we're asking the government to get involved or, some bigger entity that doesn't know what they're talking about. What would you say to that?
I would say the best industry self-police before the government makes them. Like you'll find a guild. I'm sort of making up the automotive fastener thing, but it's my new analogy for the purpose of this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll bet you could go find an automotive fasteners guild made up of the top best 5 automotive fasteners brands out there. Like I'll bet Mopar and Ford and Chevy and them already figured out how to do it right before the National Transportation Safety Bureau came down and made them do it themselves. You could like chicken or the egg that to a degree, but you get my point. And to your earlier question, like what is your other career business life like shown you? I've seen where industries have self-police before it needed to go that way, because it's unfortunate. Like there's really terrible training out there and there's really amazing training out there right next door. And like, how do you know?
They don't have any way of knowing the difference in the beginning.
The client has no clue. Like you ask the client, you go, what brought you to me? Some person goes like word of mouth. Hey, this guy, my accountant, my barber, my whoever, like he said you were squared away. She said you were squared away. Mm-hmm. I saw you volunteering at the range to do stuff as a board member and stuff like that. So that made me think you're like, there might be some thought process to it. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what it ain't. It ain't my flashy marketing, because I certainly don't have flashy marketing. Mm-hmm. Which tells me that I was the service that was available at the time they decided to go. And
maybe within proximity of where they wanted to go. Yeah.
Sure.
Probably within proximity.
Like we decided that this here coming weekend, we were going to do something about this. Mm-hmm. So we look for shit within a 50-mile radius of us that's coming this weekend, and you were the guy. Mm-hmm. That's usually the real truth. Mm-hmm. Now, what got them across the curb, so to speak, may be any number of life circumstances. But if we don't present ourselves, communicate effectively, show a level of maturity to the point where they actually want to share with us what got them off the schneid, then we'll miss them. Right.
Yeah.
Because if you show up to my class and I'm standing there with a Monster Energy drink and a scowl on my face, which, I mean, depending on what time in the morning you show up, you might see that either way. But like, if you roll in and you see me not giving a fiddler's what about you, and you just come rolling up and I go, morning, sign this, we'll start at 8. Yeah. Or is there some like surprise and delight hospitality like attitude? Yeah. With me and my crew, I'm like, we're there and we're setting up and things are happening and we're working on, the layout and the target array and what should look right and this and that. And we've done all that, the night before, and now that morning we're just making sure everything's squared away. I love watching it in my team. Yeah. If I'm looking at my team and my back is to the driveway up and one of my dudes sees a car, you immediately watch them go like, showtime, dude. Like you can immediately see it. It must be what it's like in the back of Disney where it's like, all right, it's time to be fucking Mickey Mouse. Here comes Elvis. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can immediately see the vibe change. I don't have to say it. Yeah. I don't have to be like, come on, places, everyone. I look up and I see. It's because they're happy to do it. I'm so blessed in the people I have to. Like, I've got a gentleman who's been doing this for 50 years, working for me now. Like, are you kidding me? So you just you look up and you see a 77-year-old man who's still energized about teaching. Yeah. And I see him look down. Every word I'm about to say, he immediately just looked at the client. He's like, shut up, boss, get on my way. Yeah. Heard that. I'll be over here if you need me. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And now the magic happens because now we got our opportunity. Yeah. Yeah, totally. If you're not thinking of it like that, I don't know what you're thinking of. Right. Yeah. And for those people who are in a business, no matter what the business is, that is the magic that keeps people. It's connection is what it is. It's human connection at the end of the day. And it's about caring about others and helping others grow. For me, that's where it's at. I don't even care what I'm doing. I have an overwhelming desire to help people grow, to share, to inspire. All those things are just innately part of who I am. Hey guys, I want to offer you something that is a personal touch, something special that I can share with you to help you grow and develop along this journey in this path as a defender. And what I'm offering is a monthly live call that you can participate in. And we're going to be talking about the 4 areas that I believe all defenders of life should be strong in. And those are physical fitness, emotional fitness, spiritual fitness, and training. So if you're interested in learning about those things and developing yourself throughout that journey, I'm here to help you. And I want my paid subscribers to have that personal touch of getting to talk with me one-on-one in this group call and sharing with others and encouraging others along this path. So if you'd like to get in on those calls, go to defenders-live.com, become a paid subscriber. I cannot wait to see you there. And thank you so much for your support of Defenders Live. I wanted to go because we're running out of time. I don't know how that happened, but we're a little over the halfway mark. So before we end, I want to make sure that we touch on a couple of things. The first one is, at the beginning of the show, I promised the audience, I think I called them Mythbusters. I can't remember now. Yeah. So I thought, I better make sure we deliver on that promise. And it sounds like you have a unique perspective anyway, but I'm just curious if, were there any misconceptions you had going into training that were busted for you? Or are there any misconceptions now that you actively are trying to bust? It sounds like with your approach to training, that sounds more like maybe what we could speak on.
I'm just curious your perspective.
Sure. So for one thing, people prioritize gear over any
Always.
sort of training modality, mindset, education, any other resource. They prioritize gear, right? I hate to tell you this, but it's a thing with a little lever on it that you press and some shit you line up or something like I promise you'd be all right. It's either safe, reliable, functional, meets your purpose, or it doesn't, right? But other than that, like almost every person who comes to me, somewhere in the first 20 minutes wants to gear vomit.
Yeah.
They want, like, I got this holster, I got this mag, I got blah, 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 blah. Sir, ma'am, I could not care less. Like, is it all compatible? Does it all function? Does it fit you? Does it make sense? Was it a well thought out purchase decision, or did Barry at Bass Pro just freaking make his quote on you this week? Like, where are we at with this? But other than that,
right.
Stop focusing on gear. In the competitive space, I'm also the director of training at a range, and I'm on the board of the competitive shooting organization as well as the range itself. So I spend part of my life like trying to get people to come in and compete. And like the second barrier to entry for every one of them is, well, I don't have all that shit. Like, yeah, you do. You have a gun and a holster and some mags and some ammo and some eyes and some ears and a smile. Just show up. Like, let's go. Stop with the obsession on the gear. So if people are chasing skill, like I watch guys come out to the range with the 7th and 8th and 9th new setup and new gun, and like, man, you're 20 grand into this shit already, and you have not attained the progress you wanted to attain because all the time you could have been spent dry firing and working on this shit, you spent reading about guns to go buy. Who do you want to be? You could be there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. How many people love to fart around with their Corvette all weekend and like drive it for 45 minutes and then put it away and then change the exhaust, and then nothing wrong with that. But don't mix metaphors and pretend you want to be a race car driver if all you want to do is change your exhaust all the time. That's one of my favorite myths. Let's see. You want another myth? Let's see. Age, race, sex, income level has anything to do with your attainable performance. This is a very unifying skill set. Again, a thing with a lever that you press. Like, if you can open a doorknob, I can show you how to run a gun. Let's go. Like, stop with the personal reasons why you can't. I'm tired. I hate hearing it. It's all personal down talk to me. It's all the stuff people tell themselves. Like, same thing about weight loss or personal fitness or anything else anybody wants. There's always a reason why I'm special and I can't do that. Bullshit. Get out of here. You'll be fine. You want a third myth, or do you want to stop at 2 myths?
I love it. I don't know. 3s are good, right?
All right.
Let's do a little 3.
We'll go with 3s. There is such a thing as too much training and not enough personal practice and growth. A very good friend of mine, actually, when I talk about other trainers, I'll talk about them in a great light. A guy by the name of Zach Cox from Apache Solutions, constantly hitting those dudes up and collaborating and training together and doing stuff. And I hit Zach up about a class about a year ago. I'm like, hey, man, you coming to this one? We'd love to have you. It'd be great to see you. No. So, why not? He goes, I'm not going to learn anything. What? He goes, bro, I've been to 50 freaking gun classes in the last 3 years. It's time for me to practice some of the crap I've already been shown before I show up to another class.
Good point, yeah.
You know, bro, you're 100% right. That makes total sense to me. So if you're at a gun class every weekend this year and you have no personal time to actually like acclimate to anything you were just shown, thank you very much for your money. You're not going to grow.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a really good one.
I mean, how many of us, if you'd like, I can start pulling the binders out and flipping through the class. Like, it's stupid. Like, I'll be honest with you. I look and go, there was a period there where I was oversaturated and not really diving into any one topic or any one discipline or anything. Yeah. I was straight up coin collecting or certificate collecting or, chasing the high or whatever you want to say. But are we really growing? And is growing really the goal? Like, look, dude, if you like gun class, like you like golf, cool. But then don't say you're here to grow. Just say I'm here. Like, this is enjoyable for me. I like this. Yeah. I have clients that do that. I've clients. I've had the same couple for 3 years straight. Every single week they do a private lesson with me. They miss like 3 a year for something like Christmas or some shit. And I go, guys, like, do you feel like you need a break? And they're like, no, you don't understand. We won't come do this unless we're doing it with you. We love this. This is fun for us. Aww. We're still learning. Shut up, take our money. We want to be here. Why? Fine. And are they growing and learning? Sure they are, but they could take a little time. They'd be okay. They could not come for like a month or two and just work by themselves and then come back. That's not what they want. Yeah. I'm their Wednesday night, date night, shoot night, get better with Kent, and that like I'm their escapism. If that's what you need to be for somebody, then that's all right. We need to be able to stow our own ego as trainers too, and like accept the fact that it's okay to tell people, like, yeah, it's all right to miss the 51st training of evolution this year. Like, you'll be okay. Like, the robber will not get you because you didn't come to like, you've got 20 of my certificates that, you know, if you get murdered in the streets tomorrow, it won't be because you didn't come to this one thing. So there's my 3 myths. That was pretty good, right? Did we deliver on our promise? I
really like that. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Let's finish up with, I'm curious if there's anything here, and I don't know if there is, but because you come off to me as a very thoughtful individual, a person who is articulate, who sees the deeper meaning behind things. I'm wondering, are there any things that you learned through your journey of becoming a better instructor, meaning particularly the adult learning concepts, right? How people learn. Was there anything that surprised you or that you had to kind of change your mind about as you were learning to become a better instructor?
Sure. Well, I mean, you should be changing your mind pretty well constantly. Like nobody has anything figured out ever. Yeah. But besides that, just like the more yourself you are, the less of a facade you're putting up, the less, I'm kidding, how we're Green Mountain, like the less bullshit you put out. And the more you're just, good evening, how are you? Like, we're gonna have some fun tonight. What do you want to learn? Let's go. The more genuine you are, the better you'll be received. And frankly, most of people's learning at this stage of our life, if you're beyond, 10 years old or whatever the magic number is, most of your learning is experiential and emotional. You either are connected with the experience you're having and you're learning from it, or your emotions shut you off to it before your body and your physicality ever did. Right? Like, if somebody's checked out on you, it ain't because they're not tough, bro. It's because you fucking lost them by not being yourself. So when we lose students or when students check out on us, it's probably because of something that happened 45 minutes ago that we weren't tracking.
Yeah, lack of awareness on our part.
Yep.
To some degree, yeah.
So because
there are signs.
Sure there are, but there's also like, there's the thing you say, like, I'm super thankful I didn't have to date as an adult because, like, got one. I got one to believe the hype. Like, it was perfect. All I had to do was get one to believe the hype. But like, if you've ever had to like make a friend, or I just had this experience on an airplane where like we actually had a conversation on an airplane like with a stranger. That was freaking wild. Like, there's a moment in the conversation where you say something and that person, like, either they vibe with you the whole time or there's a moment where they're like, I don't know about that. And if you're not cognizant that, like, oh, hey, we disagree. Yeah. Like, you disagreed with me earlier. You said something to the effect, like, I'm not sure that, like, I don't know about that for me. Yeah. If I don't go, okay, she's not with me on this, but like, it's okay because it's not a record scratch moment. Yeah. We always make these things like record scratch moments where, like, there's a minute, there's a disagreement. We now have to dive in and solve it and come to an understanding.
Or convert the other person to how we think of it.
Right, just hollering at each other over the internet is going to fix anything. Like, welcome to Facebook all over again. Let's just yell at each other online. Like, so when we lose somebody, what we have to understand is we've only lost them for that little moment and that little space and time, unless we continue to double down without being cognizant or aware of the fact that we lost them. Right. At which point they'll become overwhelmed and check out, is what you're saying. Exactly. Yeah. I acknowledge it. I go, okay, cool. And then I either move on or I go, no, like, if this is about a protocol or a safety or competency thing, or hey, you're not going to juggle your gun while I'm teaching you thing, or like, no, it's all right. I can lose you. I can lose you all the way to your car and then all the way down the driveway and then all the way out Ridge Road. And then, I lose you the whole way, lose you. Yeah. But if I'm going to take a stab at fixing this, I'm going to have to acknowledge that I lost you before I can come back around. Right. You're starting a relationship is what you're doing. You're having a 2-hour, 4-hour, 8-hour, 16-hour, 24-hour relationship with this person. They're leaving their we lose this entirely when we should be thinking about it, but we aren't. Whoever this person is just took all their time, all their effort, all their energy, all their white space on their calendar, all their fun money, all their social credibility with their kids and their spouse, all their social credibility with their friends where they didn't make it to Larry's barbecue because they went to gun class or whatever. They invested all of that capital on us in this moment right now. And the only thing that keeps us from hanging out and getting through to them is frankly probably a mixture of egos, ours and theirs. And if we're not willing to like pull back on ours a little bit, make some room for theirs while keeping them safe and educating them, we have no business charging $600 for a 2-day gun class. We have no business talking shit about adult learning because we clearly didn't do any reading on it. And we have no business doing anything other than, unfortunately, what you mentioned, which was certificate mill, rubber stamping, next one through. We're either that or we're not. And if we're trying not to be, we just had 16 individuals invest everything they had for Saturday and Sunday in us. And they'd lived their whole life and they went to their job and they did their things and they, paid the mortgage and whatever else in life. And their wife's like texting them or their spouse, their husband's texting them or, their kids having a thing that they're not at because they're here.
Yeah, it's an investment for people. It really is.
So if they're going to make that investment, so should we, right?
Yeah. And not only that, I don't think a lot of instructors really understand for some people, that time is incredibly emotionally and physically taxing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Totally. And, I think that, I can get used to just standing on a gun range all day and it doesn't bother my back. It doesn't bother my legs or whatever. But for other people, the physicality behind what they're doing can really impair them over time. And if they don't get a chance to take a quick break here and there, they're not going to stay mentally in check. They're not going to stay with me as an instructor because I haven't taken care of them like I should. And I see that as part of my responsibility, although I do also think that is just as much their responsibility as grown-ass adults, honestly, to take care of themselves. But honestly, gosh, a lot of people I know don't take care of themselves. And I don't mean just physically take care of themselves. Like so many people, when they're overwhelmed or they're in over their head, they won't say anything because they won't take care of themselves in that moment to have the honesty to, put their ego aside for a second and be like, hey, I'm really drowning here. And that's part of my job, I think, as an instructor too, is to see that before it gets to a point where they're going to be unsafe, and so I think that's part of it too. Really quickly, I want to add one more thing. And that is, my experience has been in the past that I used to look up to people I admired who were good shooters or who were instructors. And I used to think, and I don't think this is correct anymore, so I want your opinion on this. I used to think there was something that person could, if they could just give me the thing I'm lacking, then I would be fixed. And then I could do the XYZ thing that I wanted to do. And what I've learned now is there is no thing another human can give you to make you more who you are or to give you more wholeness. And I know this is going pretty deep, but
no, it's not. I love it.
I don't think that the best people around me have ever given me anything I didn't already possess. What they did was they revealed it to me in that moment. And that to me is the difference between a great coach and a good coach. Like a good coach will give you good advice and good cues, and that's part of it. But a great coach will ask you the right question at the right moment that'll reveal something inside of you that you didn't see before, that then somehow unlocks that. And that's something then that you have that you can carry with you even after that class is over. Does that make sense to you?
No, ma'am, it doesn't make sense to me. It is the fiber of my soul. Like, that's exactly what we're doing. That's all I'm doing at all times. That's the moment of, oh shit. See? Like, we can still be charming. But think about that for a moment. That's the high.
Yeah.
If I can catch that a couple times a day, I'm into it. I'm 100% down. And I would say that as professional educators, though, one thing that we can do is we can look at our mentors and we can look at our peers and allow their strong suits to highlight our weaknesses and then make those our strong suits.
Sometimes we kind of borrow that from them for a while until we can create that.
You own it yourself.
Yeah, totally agree with you there.
So I could literally sit here and go, this part of this curriculum and this way that I approach this, I got the idea and the cue from this person. And this part of my mentality I got from this person. And this part of my mentality I got from this person. I could tell you, like, throughout mentorship, like, quite frankly, most of the things I've gotten from other quality trainers and instructors have very little to do about, like, press the thing, do the thing, like, have had way more to do with how you communicate whatever that is, or what level of effort you put into it, or what level of seriousness you put into it, or professionalism. Like, I just think back to experiences I've had with people that I used to put on a pedestal for some reason. And now some of those same people are coming to me for collaboration. Like, well, hey, what do you think? And like, where did that ever come from?
Yeah.
And then I go, well, wait, like we have a lot of shared experiences here.
Yeah.
Look, we're all just people. Like, we either are trying to have our own gun cult or we are not.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm all about the cult. I would like there to be all the miniguns and the moat, not very much like a helicopter landing pad and the whole thing. Like, that'd be kind of fun, but like, we don't really want mini cult, do we? We want a bunch of people to collaborate and work on things and get better at it. That exists in a lot of different corners of this if we're willing to look for it.
Right.
Where it doesn't exist is Instagram.
Totally.
That ain't where you're going to find it. Like,
and that's where everybody's looking, Kent. That's the problem.
That high, you gave the both of us the high by explaining the light bulb moment to the student. Like, you woke me the hell up. Thank you for the motivation. My private lesson is going to be 10% better tonight than it was going to be otherwise. Yes. Don't challenge shit. It'll be a 4-hour lesson instead of 2 real fast. Yeah. That poor guy's going to be like, all right, dude, what happened to you tonight? Like, so but cool. Seriously, that's not on Instagram.
No, you can't buy that either.
The only time it is on Instagram is when it's students sharing past experiences.
Yeah.
Being like, look at this shit. And all I see is faces when I think of that. All I see is friends and family and faces and stories and memories. And like, you remember the time this person explained this way and everybody freaking fell out laughing. And that one poor lady, like, projectile snarfled her liquid IV across the range. Like you'll have those sort of moments just over and over and over again the longer you've done this, and those will be the things. Like, you'll cherish the time that you're like, oh, that made sense.
Yeah. Or
the ability to collaborate. Like, I was just at Range Master. I was at the tactical conference down there in Texas.
Cool. I've heard good things about that.
You should absolutely bucket list it at least once.
Yeah, I think that it will have to be a bucket list thing.
But I was, I had the pleasure of taking, somebody who I now consider a peer. I took a block of instruction from him. And he's like, hey, man, what do you think? I'm like, not now. Give me a minute. Like, go talk to your people. Go chill. Like, tomorrow afternoon, I have some questions for you. I was like, oh. I'm like, no. Before we only had a 2-hour block here. So before I just go giving you a million points or a million ideas, like, I have some questions. And he and I really misconstrued the point he was trying to make in his course because I missed previous context, right? So I was like, hey, let me sit down and ask you 3 questions. And he answered them. And I went, never mind, I have nothing for you then. He goes, what? I said, well, I misconstrued your entire context. So now the answer I would have given you yesterday would have been entirely invalid and unfair. So given this new context, I understand where you were going, makes total sense. And not how I would approach it, but now I get what you were trying.
Yeah.
But if we don't stop in the moment to think, like, outside of us, like, maybe you're not shooter Jesus for a minute. Maybe you should just shut up and think for a minute and ask a few questions first. You'd be amazed.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, in any situation.
Sure.
That's listening to understand rather than listening to hear. That's the difference, I think.
Yeah. Well, either that or just waiting for your turn to sound
right. Totally. Well, I have no doubt that after this conversation, some of my audience is going to want to learn more about Kent Hauer. So I am going to put up, and for those people who are just listening and not watching, your website, give them your website and your social media, and tell them about your podcast, would you please?
Sure. So greenmountaindefense.com/training. If you'd like to find me on a range, that's where you'll find me. You can find the Slinging Lead podcast everywhere awesome podcasts are served. That's where TJ Ramsey and I talk about firearms training with other trainers. Lora, we're literally doing what you're doing. We're bringing other people on to talk about their stuff. We're not promoting ourselves. If you want to learn about my classes, don't go listen to the Slinging Lead podcast because it's all about everybody else's classes. You want to find me, greenmountaindefense.com, Kent at greenmountaindefense.com, and at Green Mountain Defense on all the socials, anywhere that matters. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I think. That's about it, right? We just auto share the same content to all the different places. And our The cell phone number that you would have contacted me on is the same one that's on the website. Anybody can come find me, call me, ask me things, reach out. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up this year. Instructor development stuff. Tim Heron and I are teaching together.
Oh, fun.
We do some really cool, really niche training here. And when we're not promoting ourselves, we're just bringing in awesome guest instructors.
Yeah.
So look, if you're anywhere within the reach of coming into central Pennsylvania and you want to get some work done, let's go. I'm all about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of times on this show where I wish I didn't live in Montana, and this is one of those times. All the other times I'm glad to live in Montana. I love it here. But yeah, I would.
All I need is your range and 10 of your best friends, and I'll come. Don't tell me twice. Let's go up.
Have you ever been to Montana?
I have, not for firearms training.
Oh, well, somehow it's way more fun. I don't know, to shoot guns in Montana. There's something about it. I don't know.
I feel that way. Okay, so I feel that way about like Texas. I feel that way about Nevada. Like there's a couple places on the planet. I also feel that way in like New England, where you're shooting guns in Massachusetts or New York.
Yeah.
Like you kind of feel like you're getting away with some shit, you know? like you absolutely feel like you are the rebel scum and the stormtroopers will be coming. And then you realize the stormtroopers are the people who paid you to be here in the first place. That's kind of funny.
You know what you need, Kent? You need a blog.
A blog?
Yeah. I mean, I think you would be a really good writer as well. I mean,
unfortunately,
want to do, but
yeah, I was going to say, I am, as it turns out, somewhat of a good writer.
I would believe that.
Do you hate Family Guy references or love them? Either people hate them or love them.
I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
That's a lie. You either like cartoons or you don't.
It's not my favorite show on the planet.
See,
if that's what
I knew
you're
it.
asking me.
All right. If it were, though, you'd be familiar with Brian or Stewie harassing Brian about that book he's writing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, hey, when are you going to get that book done? Like, hey, when are you gonna get that? I have sort of a concept I've been working on forever. And someday when I
I was going to lead with writing a book, but I thought that might be a little too much. So I went to blogs. I should have just went for it.
I'll even tell you what I really
wanted to say.
I'll even tell you what it's about.
Tell me.
It's a concept we came up with here called gun scoundrel.
Gun scoundrel.
And it actually sort of originates. The reason I'm on this show, y'all, is because Dan Brady recommended me from Apache Solutions.
Yeah.
If you guys know Dan Brady, he's a 6'6" Adonis looking dude. Who's definitely a scoundrel. Like scoundrel is a great expression for him, right? Yeah. And I went up to the range and was doing stuff while Dan was in town for some class or something we were doing together. And somebody made a comment to the effect of like, wait, did you leave your wife and kid with Dan Brady? No, it's funny to you and I, right? But to this person, it was from them, it was a question, right?
Really?
Yeah. And I looked at him and I was like, if you knew whose name you just spoke, you would realize that my wife and child are in some of the best hands they could possibly be.
Yeah.
And the fact that she may leave me for him someday had nothing to do with that. I'm imparting humor on this.
Right.
And this person then followed up with some of your trainer friends sort of have this scoundrel vibe.
Huh.
And I was like, yeah, you know what we do. And I would trust any of us with any. So I'm sort of expanding on what it means to be a masculine figure in an educational space that is really so misconstrued. Because Dan Brady could just as easily be a professor if he wasn't a cop.
Right.
Right. And we could name the list of dudes, right? Just right on down the line. Not to be feminine exclusionary, but girls don't really come out as a scoundrel to me. I don't know what the feminine word for that would be. And y'all are not looked at in the same light. We're still somewhat predators to everybody, whether we are or we're not, right?
I get what you're saying.
So I'm sort of expanding on you know what? I've met numerous people through this endeavor that I would say are my perfect version of a scoundrel. Who that person is that you'd want, definitely a little rough around the edges. There's going to be some brown water and cigars involved. The vernacular is not going to be church appropriate at all times. We could go down the list of things, but the heart and the passion and the level of humanity there is second to none.
Totally agree with you. I can't wait to read that book.
Sure. There's another reason I have to finish writing it, right?
Oh, just so you know, part of my business is graphic design and layout. So
we got to be friends outside of podcast. In case
you need someone to lay out your book and design your cover, I'm your girl.
I just got to stop writing about people because right now it's just all I did was go Tim Kelly, Dan Brady, Tim Heron, just every dude I know in the space.
Yeah.
And just write a bio on them.
Yeah.
right now, what it could be is just an article series, but it was never what it was intended to be.
Could be a variety of things.
It's too much right now.
It could be a video series. It could be a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great concept, though. And I think it's worth writing about for sure. I'm definitely interested in reading more about it.
You ever, I delve into stand-up comedy a lot as sort of escapism and also a way to learn how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
There's a guy by the name of Sam Talent who wrote a book called Running the Light.
Mm-hmm.
That's all about like the thrill of the chase for stand-up comedians. It's a really interesting look into what it would be like to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what would it be like to be the gun instructor person? What does that actually mean?
Yeah. You're onto something for sure.
Maybe.
Definitely.
What else we got? Do we need to fulfill any more promises, or have we fulfilled all our promises? I think we're doing pretty good.
I hate giving a good hook in the front end of the show and then not delivering. I mean, that's the worst thing you could do as a podcaster.
I think we killed it. I give us a 10 out of 10. I feel very good about this.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I can definitely tell you have a heart for this, and gosh, an intellect that runs so deep. Like that combination of intellect and heart is rare. And I'm honored to have you on the show. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I would encourage all you guys to go check out Green Mountain Defense, see what more you can learn about Kent Hauer, and go take a class from him.
Love to have you guys out. Very honored to have been asked to be here. Very honored for the light you can shine on what we do. And I can't wait to see what your show's like 5 years from now, if you're still after it, or if you're run out of scoundrels to talk to. Or
I'll never run out of scoundrels.
No, I think there's plenty of them.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.